What's up, everybody? It's Jeff Hobbs. Another edition of the Zero Hour presented by Aries Fight Center and Fight Series. And we are excited to once again bring you a one on one interview for the big Aries Ampd show. It's going down in 1 week. Weigh ins are 1 week from tomorrow, Saturday, August 13th. It's going down Nashville Fairgrounds. Huge show. Can't wait. And today we are going to talk with one of the young up and comers, Mr. Sammy Shires, uh, coming out for his sophomore outing. Just had his amateur MMA debut a few weeks back in Clarksville, and we cannot wait to get to know him and get to talk to him and introduce him to you guys. So before we bring him in, let's remind you what we're here for and what we're talking about. Sammy Shires, my man, how is it going, boss?
It's going great. It's going great. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, man. I am excited to get to talk to you. I got to meet you a few weeks back when you had your amateur debut in Clarksville. It was a hometown fight for you. Got to talk to you for a few minutes, but really excited to get to kind of dive a little deeper, get to know you, and let the Aries fans who haven't had a chance to, or the privilege, I should say, of watching you compete and getting to know you, learn a little bit more about you. But Sammy, we are now 1 week away pretty much from weigh-ins. You're going to step on the scale, a little sophomore outing here in the amateur MMA world. You had your debut. How are you feeling right now? I know doing a little research on you, you're really not far from a weight that you competed at probably most of your amateur career in high school and stuff. So is the weight cut pretty easy for you at this point?
Uh, yes, I was just all water weight. I'm weighing around 138, 148 right now. It's a breeze getting down
Oh
there.
yeah. So you're good. I know we're going to this fight coming up next week. We're going to do a catch weight of 140. So that obviously sounds like a real comfortable area for you right now. So you don't really have to put your body through too much. It sounds like right now you just been able to concentrate on training and just maintain what you got. Um, let's go back a little bit.
Exactly.
Like I said, your amateur debut was in Clarksville a few weeks back at the Wilma Rudolph Center. I was lucky enough to get called in and do a little announcing duty, moonlighting from promoting to go just have some fun and watch some fights and do some announcing.
Mm.
I get to do that often, and when I do, I'm usually, like I said, it's usually a break for me. I get to go and just have some fun, and I'm not necessarily working, if you will, promoting. But
Yeah.
then I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm calling out names, and all of a sudden, when I hear a pop like I got when I read the name Sammy Shires, my ears perked up a little bit, and it was time to take notice. Obviously, you're from that area, and you've got a huge following. How did that feel, man? Your first time walking into a cage and having the door shut and locked behind you, but to have that rabid support behind you.
It was great in the first place. So it was real easy for all my friends and family to come by and watch me. Just getting ready for the fight. It was pretty weird actually because I was in tour doing a national wrestling tournament with Team Tennessee, and so I was up there for 6 days. And on my way back, Mike hit me up, says he's got a fight for me, and right when I'm training, and I make sure I put it on social media to all my friends that I'm going to be fighting, having the support and everyone come out. It was a great experience, and actually, I got a little nervous because obviously it's my first fight. I see the for these fights. I got to live up to some expectation in the cage. But right before, sort of like confidence boost, and I have my teammates behind me, people screaming. I know when I walk out there, it felt so great, and lock the cage, the lights coming down on me. Experienced anything like that. I did like when I was around like 15. I did kick my MMA coach Mike Merriman. He got me some matches, but it was different because it was MMA, small gloves and no gear at all. So it felt so awesome.
Yeah, well, not only was that kind of a short notice fight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that it was also pretty close to not even being legal because you just turned 18 a couple of weeks before that, did you? So you were a couple of weeks before you're a junior, and and you were literally just straight after blowing the candles off a cake, pretty much that you were legal to jump in an adult mixed martial arts and match, and you're right there in the cage, man. You were in
Yes,
homeroom just
sir.
a few
Yeah.
weeks before that. You were in class.
Yep. That's exactly how it was. And that was a plan all along. Mike knew once I turned 18. He's been busting me. Mike's been in my ear like, once you turn 18, we're gonna get the MMA fight. It
And he held true to his word. As soon as
He
you
did.
were
Yep.
18, yeah, as soon as you turned
Surprisingly,
18, yeah,
no,
you were in an MMA fight. Well, man, a lot of people they they'll take a bout and then they take that downtime and let's hit back
right.
in the gym. I'm going to take a few months off. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
train a little more. But you were eager, man. Was it just the competitive nature in you, or is it just you got bit by that bug and you're like, I love the way this feels. I got to feel it again. What was the determining factor on just saying, hey, let's keep this thing rolling, man. Hey, I've got this offer in front of me. Let's just run with it.
Yeah, that's a great question. Used wrestling back to back, and so competing back to back during season school wrestling and even middle school too. It was it was a tournament each weekend, and I never really took a break unless my body needed it. Obviously, I would take, but it was competing like every other day, every weekend. Tough competition. Knowing I had a fight coming up right after coming back from Tulsa, it was like I'm ready. And even this fight too, I have great partners fights coming up too, so I have to get them ready. Most importantly, they need to get me ready for my with us. And yeah, that was it. That was my process going into the fight. That's how I'm going into this. It's another fight. It's another opportunity for And I got lots of people coming to watch me too, so I can't let them down. People want to what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, it definitely seems like you're it's kind of just you're a creature of habit, and this is the way
Right.
that I've always been. Almost like if I have downtime, I don't know what to do with it. If I don't have something coming up, I don't want to say you're lost, but you're just kind of like, what do I do? So you kind of keep things going. Do you think though that as you progress in MMA, though, that's something you're gonna have to mindset that you're maybe gonna have to change a little bit, moving forward? Maybe actually force yourself to take some time off.
Yes, sir. I think taking time off and being able to MMA, it's mentally draining, physically draining. It's a hard on your body. It's a hard, easy. So I know lots of pro MMA fighters. They take their rest when needed, and seeing what they do, it helps me figure out a do too. Um, taking notes. So I take notes with all, and I have after this fight, I'm actually moving to college fight and
Yeah,
pursuing my college wrestling career for 4 or 5 years, and it's the rest and recovery you need. And I know
yeah,
college wrestling's and the next level. It's not like
it's a different
high
animal.
school wrestling. Yes, sir. I'm gonna take the steps needed to make sure I'm in for all the competitions yet to come. It's a next
Well,
level, and with MMA too. So
yeah, and what I thought I heard was, really just really interesting. It's kind of unheard of,
mhm.
but it was so enlightening to hear is that your coaches are very much behind your side gig, supporting your love of mixed martial arts and wanting to compete. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they said, listen, man, when you're not in season, we support you, out there pursuing this. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. They are very supportive of me fighting. I even asked my college wrestling coach if it was, and he's 100% behind me in whatever I do. Starts. He knows I'm gonna wrestle hard and practice hard and train towards my goal. There is precautions to take, especially in
Yeah.
MMA. You could get foot locked. Hurt something. But to me, it's another opportunity to compete. And I could not be doing MMA at all. There's a couple opportunities where I could have went to Fargo tournaments, but I really settled down and decided I'm going to take this MMA stuff serious. I can take some MMA and then take it to college wrestling. A little break for wrestling, honestly, and doing something new that I could also possibly be doing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, 100%. MMA is also your break from wrestling,
Yep.
because I know, like I said, just being around wrestlers, my son just started trying to take up middle school wrestling, and
Awesome.
I know how intense it can be. So uh, now he was ready for football to start because then it was just
Mhm.
a break from the everyday grind of the other. So I'm sure it's I'm sure you're gonna be able to balance out the two beautifully. Now like you said, you had a really good contingency of fans at your last, and that was on a short notice, not just for you, but it's short notice for them. Uh, and I can say, because I keep up with the ticketing sales on this, I will
Mhm.
say now with a little more notice, your ticket sales. I hear the little notification dinging every couple of days with more Sammy Shires tickets being sold. Um, you're young in the sport, but I know your friends and family have followed you and everything you've probably done growing up. But have you noticed that there's just something about fighting, though, that, and I don't think this is a bad thing. Some people use this term as if it's a bad thing, and I don't. But have you noticed just how people live vicariously through fighters differently? Like, it's almost like they get so much more pumped up than you do to watch you beat somebody else up.
Oh, definitely. It's not like wrestling. Like no one's pumped up like they are when I say I have a fight tonight, an MMA fight, right? I do get a lot of people coming at me, always talking to me about my fight. This makes me feel a lot better too. Just to know people are really invested in what I'm gonna do, watch me. It makes me train harder. It makes me happier, pursue higher goals than what I am doing right now.
Oh, absolutely, my man. So, you're young in your career. Your opponent, Jonathan Rivers, is very young in his career. This is his debut. So,
Awesome.
obviously, we've talked to your camp. There's at this level of mixed martial arts, there's not a lot of research you can do on your opponent, especially because he hasn't had a fight yet. So, there's not a lot of film that you can go out there and research like you probably would in
Hmm.
wrestling or later on in your career. Do you just kind of look at this fight as in um, it's really not about who's on the other side of the cage or what he does at this point in my career, early second amateur fight? It's just all about me doing what I've been taught to do.
I do see the fight like that, and like you said, I can't see any past. I've talked to my coach, and I'm just going to trust in my abilities out there. I'm any lighter than I would anyone else. I'm going to expect a war. So when I go out there, yes, and whatever the outcome is, I'll be happy anyways because I'm just glad to be a war, and I'm going to put it on them. And that's how it's going to be. I'm going to put it on for my
Well, this is a big
fans and
card,
all the
man.
watchers. It is.
This is going to be a big card, and I'm excited. For your fight, I'm excited for all the. Is there any other fights on this card when you look down it that you're like, dang, I'm watching that one. I'm going to hurry up and get back out here so I can watch that fight.
Zach Hicks from Nashville MMA, and I know both of them, and I like watching them fight, like out there and see them fight and see how they do.
All right, my man. Well, Sammy, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know it's fixing, like I said, be crunch time here the next week. That's when all the phone calls are going to come in. Do you have any more tickets? I need two. Will you hold me one? All those kind of things are going to start happening more and
I
more
do.
next.
I am. Yes, sir.
Yeah, happening more and more next week. So I appreciate you taking the time out and talking to us. And before I let you go, man, this is your opportunity. Take a quick 60 seconds here, my man, and just if there's any shout outs, training partners, sponsors, anybody, everybody that helps you get to the point that you are, if you want to give them some props, this is the time to do it, my man.
First of all, shout out Wildside, best gym in Clarksville. I'm gonna put that out there. Shout out all my training partners. You got Diego, you got Peyton, you got a lot of those guys, and even the come in there often. Shout out them. They make me better, they especially, and shout out my family. My parents, they're my biggest. They'll do anything for me, and I'm just super grateful for them. Thank them, and shout out my coaches too. I've been getting a lot of help. Coming in, and they've been showing me a lot of striking technique that I'm not used to at all, and I can tell I'm way better since my last fight. So you'll see some striking in the cage too, and been working a lot of positions. So thank you, coaches, for that. Thank you very much, and that's all I got.
All right, guys. Once again, this is Sammy Shires. He will be taking on Jonathan Rivers next week, August 13th, Saturday, Nashville Fairgrounds, Aries Ampd. If you haven't got your ticket yet, I bet Sammy might have just a few left, probably not many, but just a few. But if he doesn't have any, head over to www.fightertix.com. That's Tix with an X.com. Make sure you hit that drop down and pick Sammy Shires as the reason why you're coming to Aries Ampd, so that way he can make a little scratch, a little commission off of your support. So, Sammy, we appreciate you, man, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday at weigh-ins.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, man.